This is the 2024 Land Rover Defender 110. Is it the perfect balance of luxury and power? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today I'm at Land Rover of Shreveport, and we're going to go over the particulars on this Carpathian edition of the Land Rover Defender. If you want to know more, check out the link down in the description of the video, and you'll find a balance here with the Carpathian edition of the Land Rover Defender with Carpathian gray as the exterior color. This is actually paint. It is not a wrap. You will find gloss black in several different areas of the vehicle. Maybe a little harder to see in the sunlight here, but you do have that gloss black on the hood and on and around the vehicle in several different places. And a familiar look with the Land Rover Defender. People can look at it who know what they're looking at, and they don't necessarily have to see the word Defender or the name Defender on the hood right there. They can just tell by looking at the vehicle, but still a lot of modern touches. Premium LED headlights, signature daytime running lights. We're going to have fog lights down here on the lower portion of the bumper. And obviously, you can see those sensors right there. That means you're going to have a lot of great safety features, including the parking sensors. All of that's going to be here. And all-wheel drive will be a standard feature here. Very useful in a multitude of driving situations, not necessarily just for off-roading. It'll also help you on-road in snow, ice, even wet driving conditions. There's a lot going on there where that's concerned. And how about our tire and wheel size? We're looking at 275 for the width, a 45 series sidewall wrapped around those 22-inch wheels. And even though it's upside down, you can see the Defender name or logo right there. The black brake calipers right there definitely work well here. I think that looks nice. It matches. I don't know, red might work just as well, but in this case, I think the black works. And there is something very important to the power of this vehicle, the balance of luxury and power. The fact that you have the V8 under the hood, a load of horsepower. Gloss black on your mirror caps. They are power adjustable. They're also power folding. I'll show you real quick how that works. There you go. You can also see your turn signal indicators built in. They're power adjustable. You have your blind spot information center or blind spot monitoring there. Heated, all of that is here. And there are some gloss touches on and around the vehicle. And there is what your remote is going to look like. Lock, unlock, you can turn your lights on. In fact, let's do that real fast just to kind of show you what that looks like. A little bit harder to see in the bright Louisiana sunshine today, but that's what you have. You can also open and close your power tailgate as well. And the good thing about these nice tall windows is that it makes it easy to see out of. And while you have the spare tire back here, it is a full-size spare. That's the good news. It may obstruct your view just a little bit out of the rear window right here, but you do have the clear sight rear view mirror to help alleviate that problem. We'll also have dual exhaust back here, and I know that we're opening things up to all kinds of interesting comments, but they're here, the recovery hooks. Now we'll let the comments begin. And you already know what's under the hood, but let's talk about the details. It's the 5-liter V8. It makes a strong 518 horsepower and 461 pounds-feet of torque. It is a supercharged engine, as you can see by the engine cover right here. It's all mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And if you're going to buy this model, you probably don't care about this, but somebody is likely to ask if I don't share the gas mileage details. We're looking at 14 city, 19 highway, 16 combined, and 6.2 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. Speaking of gas, let's go around here and open the gas door. You have a fuel cap right here. It is not capless fuel fill, and if you're curious about the gas tank size, it's 23.8 gallons. When it comes to practical use, there's quite a bit to talk about back here. You'll notice that the rear is really high off the ground. That has to do with your air suspension. Not only does that provide a nice, comfortable ride quality, but it also allows you to raise and lower the vehicle depending on what you need to do. Obviously, you are not going to have a power tailgate here. You can tow up to 8,201 pounds. A little bit of space here in this area for storage. We're looking at 34 up to 78.8 cubic feet of cargo capacity here. You have your bag hangers right here if you need to use those. You also have a power outlet right there. And I like the fact that your LED lighting right here is angled towards the interior. That's always a good thing. Now, let's talk about lowering the vehicle. All I'm doing is holding down the button right here. You can use the button that is on the right to lower the vehicle, and you can use the button that's on the left to raise it up, depending on what you need to do, or just how you want it to look when it's sitting in a parking lot maybe. But there you go. You can see I've lowered the rear all the way down. But there's one more thing to show you as far as cargo space goes, as far as how you configure your maximized cargo capacity. And before we do that, let's just take a quick look here at the Safari windows. As you can see right there, that's going to be useful. If you have a third row, you have the 130 and you have a third row back here, then your passengers can really take advantage of that. Not so much sitting in the second row here. And when it comes to maximizing your cargo space, well, you have a couple of different options. If you wanted to just fold the seats down without moving the cushion out of the way, as we have right there, you can do that. You will need to fold the headrest down, but you also have the option to move the seat cushions out of the way. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. And then you can fold the seat backs completely flat. And it's so easy to move the seat cushions out of the way. That's all you have to do. Now, there is one more thing we can do here. We can create a pass-through with this center seat section right here. Obviously, you can do the same thing that we've done. You can leave the seat cushions in place, or you can move them out of the way and take advantage of that area. And let's see what your rear seat passengers are going to find when the seats are in place. Very comfortable and plenty of size with the armrest. A nice large door bin right here. A good sized bottle will fit right there. And plenty of room. Not only room for leg space, but also for head space. And you also have the panoramic sunroof. There is a shade that can be drawn forward. Everything is power. That front portion will tilt and slide open. We'll also find the rear seat pockets right here, as well as the fold down armrest with the cup holders built in. And probably the most important thing to a lot of you out there, let's close the door so we can get rid of some of that exterior noise, is going to be right here. You find not only the rear air conditioning vents, but the third and fourth zones of climate control. So you have dual zone in the front up there. You also have dual zone in the rear. And obviously you can adjust the temperature back here, or that can be locked where the passengers can't do that. Now, you do have heated seats back here in the rear, but not ventilated seats. But since I'm going to be driving, not a big deal for me. You can adjust the fan speed, and you have your USB ports right here. Quite a bit going on with that. A lot of space back here. I like that. I feel very comfortable. So what would it cost you to step into this Land Rover Defender Carpathian Edition at Land Rover of Shreveport? $122,478 is the sticker price. Let's see what else you get for that price. Nice large door bin on the front doors, a little more space than we had with the rear, and nice large armrest. The exposed screws definitely give it that kind of classic Land Rover look, aggressive, maybe a little bit more tough look to it. And the thing I like here is that you don't have the carpet here, so if you do have dirty feet, dirty shoes, whatever, it's not as big of a deal. You can just hose everything off, you're good to go. And that doesn't mean necessarily just off-roading. That can happen a lot of different places, depending on if you get a lot of rain and deal with mud just in the parking lots where you go. It can happen. And the thing I like here is that you have seat memory on the driver's side, and nothing unusual for Land Rover, but also over there on the passenger side. I'd like to see that in a lot more vehicles. Even at lower price points, it just seems appropriate. Power windows, power locks, it's all here, you know that. And right here is the control for adjusting the tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. Alcantara covered. That's nice. You do have a head-up display that is adjustable. In fact, when you go right here and push this button, that brings up the options to adjust quite a few things. Your info panel, your display layout, trip selection. You can see what all is here. There's your head-up display settings. So you'll go in here and you can change brightness, position. You can see what all is there. Pretty easy to deal with, pretty easy to figure out. You can use what I like to call the hunt and peck method. And here are your steering wheel mounted controls, as well as your shifter paddles for working your way back and forth through the 8-speed automatic transmission. And the controls right here for your headlights, and those things called blinkers that some people seem to think there's a Surgeon General's warning that says using your blinkers could be hazardous to your health. Yes, it's okay to laugh. And you can control your front and rear window wipers right there. Pretty easy to deal with. And something kind of funny right here, just because I'm so close to the road out there, it says the speed limit is 50 miles an hour. I won't fall for that driving around here on the lot at Land Rover of Shreveport, because it might be the last time I ever come here if I do. And as I mentioned earlier, there's your clear sight rear view mirror. If you want to use that as a conventional rear view mirror, you can. Your upper console, you can see what all is there. Here's how you control the position of that power shade and the power sunroof. By the way, I did bring the shade forward in case you were curious about how that looks. And your 11.4-inch Hibi Pro infotainment screen, let me take that plastic off of there just to make it a little bit easier for you to see. That effect you see going across the screen is not really happening. It's only happening through the lens of my camera, just in case you wondered. And you can obviously pair your smartphone here. You know what all is here. I think it's pretty easy to deal with. Let's go in and look at some of our features and functionality here. You have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You also have built-in navigation if you wish to use that. That's pretty easy to deal with, pretty easy to figure out. And we'll go back to where we were just to show you what all is here. You can go in and adjust pretty much anything you want to. What about our cameras? At this price point, you better have a multitude of views on and around the Defender. And as you can see, well, we most certainly do. Get over here and take a look at a few of those different views. You also have the rear views as well, depending on where you need to see and what you need to see. You can also go around your Defender and see everything. Maybe somebody parked too close to you in a parking lot. Maybe you parked too close to them and you don't want to hit them. Well, there you go. You can deal with that. So that's very easy to deal with. And you even have your off-road view. This is nice because it's not just helpful off-roading. If you're in an area, maybe you've had a tornado come through or something along those lines. We had that happen about a year ago, and there was a lot of debris on the road, and you needed to see what was in front of you. Maybe it was dark or something like that. You were driving through an area and trying to see what was going on around you. Well, you can see those things. There could be a lot of things going on that help with that. Towing, there you go. If you need to hitch up to a trailer, you can do that. There's so much here, I'm not going to cover it all, but pretty easy to deal with. Like I say, Hunt and Peck method is going to do a great job for you. You can turn the screen off right here by going into your settings, auto theme. If you want to turn the auto brake hold on and off, there's where you do that. You can adjust what's going on with your home screen, also with audio. And then if we go to all right here, then you just have everything that you have as far as that goes. Pretty easy to deal with. I like it. It's simplified, but yet you have some great technology here. There's your shifter. Tell me what you think about that particular location. It's easy to get your hand around, that's for sure. I like that. Start and stop the engine right there, and everything to control. A few things we saw in the screen you can also control here. You can turn the auto stop start feature off or on if you prefer to have that on right there, and you can control your temperature right here. If you push that right there, let's see if we can get the fan speed down a little bit. We don't want to do that. Sorry about that. That wasn't supposed to happen. But there's how you control the fan speed. That was very much unintentional. I did not mean to do that. So there we go with that. Now, I'm going to push on that, and that allows me to turn on the ventilated seats. I can also go this way and turn on the heated seats, but today I don't need that. That is a fact. It is warm today. And you can also raise and lower the vehicle right here, depending on what you want to do or what you need to do, what the height needs to be. You can adjust your air suspension right there. Pretty easy to just sit there and let that happen. Not a big deal. And you have something that I'd call kind of old school right there, the control, the knob for the radio. You can turn that on and off right there and adjust your volume. There is a lot of space within this area. You have a pass-through right here with the center console. Kind of hard to show from this vantage point, but it is there. And your cup holders right there. There's your wireless charging pad, and you also have the refrigerated console. At this price point, you better have a refrigerated console. And the console, I wish it was a little further forward because my arm kind of hangs off a little bit if I was going to use that as an armrest, but that's the way it is. And last but not least, before we hit the road for our test drive, you have your connectivity right here. In fact, before we do that, I do want to show you one thing. You can hear the indicator going off. That's the parking sensor I was talking about, parking sensors earlier. You have those on the front and the rear, and the camera will come on, as you can see, to let you see what's going on around you so you don't hit anything. Okay, we're out here on the road for our test drive. Definitely a fun vehicle to drive. Pretty good ride quality, I'd say. You have so much horsepower here. I don't need to say too much about that. I think you know. I'll see about giving you a little bit of an exhaust clip here as we change the Rover on here in just a few seconds, but don't want to go too crazy with it. You might be buying this Defender with the V8 under the hood, and you might say, Tom, I don't want you giving my Defender wear and tear that it shouldn't have. So I'm not going to do that. But one thing I will say here that I really like is the fact that this Alcantara wrapped steering wheel is extremely comfortable. That is a very nice thing to deal with. Now, let's listen for a couple of things. Not only the growl of the V8, a wonderful sound, but also I drove over the railroad tracks back there and it was extremely quiet. Now, I don't know how that corresponds to what I'm hearing in person compared to what my mic is picking up. Those are two different things, and so it's hard to correlate that necessarily into what it really sounds like based on what you're hearing through my microphone, because I do have a windsock on there, and so it tends to filter out some background noise. But based on my personal experience, I'd say that it was quiet and the ride quality was good. That shouldn't be a surprise. And the steering is pretty tight here. I like that. That's always a good thing. It's not exactly sports car tight, but you don't feel out of control. I know in some vehicles I've driven in the past, the steering is a little sloppy, and you do tend to feel a little out of control, at least at first if you're not used to it. Once you get used to it, it's not too bad, and I'll give you a good example of that. I recently drove a Tesla Cybertruck, and it was a very different experience as far as how it felt and how it drove. Once I got used to it, it wasn't too bad. Some of that had to do with the fact that it has four-wheel steering, and that four-wheel steering is actually very aggressive in how it works. You definitely have a nice tight turning radius, and you do here too. It's pretty good. You can get around pretty well, and if you're saying to yourself, well, you know, Tom, I don't really need a 110. What about the 90? Well, that would do even better for you because you have a shorter wheelbase. So we'll see what we can do about maybe reviewing one in the future. I have some on some models from last year and the year before. I may even have a 24, I don't remember, but we'll see about doing another one. But one way or another, a very enjoyable driving experience. Absolutely no trouble with space. I can tell, even though I'm not over 6 feet tall, I'm 5'10", I can tell there is more than enough room for somebody who is very much in excess of 6 feet tall. In fact, if that happens to be you, share your experience down in the comments section as far as how comfortable you are based on how you have adjusted the driver's seat, the steering wheel position, all of that. As far as being comfortable at over 6 feet tall, maybe you're 6'2", 3, 4, I don't know. Tell us down in the comments. I know somebody can likely do that. The controls here are nice and easy to learn and use. And one thing I definitely have to say here, if you're that person who is maybe looking for a Land Rover, but you've looked at some of the newer models that have been refreshed, and you're saying, you know what, Tom, I really don't want to have everything in the infotainment screen. Well, here's a great option for you while it's still here. I don't know what the future holds where that's concerned with the Defender, but I know some of the other models that have received some changes, such as the Velar and the Range Rover Sport, well, there's not much in the way, practically no physical controls whatsoever other than a shifter and the button to start and stop the engine. So that's one thing to consider. I do like the manageability of the gas and the brake pedal. That's always a plus. Overall, a very well-rounded vehicle. Okay, tell me what you think about the 2024 Land Rover Defender 110 Carpathian Edition. Is it the ultimate balance of luxury and power? Tell me what your thoughts are down in the comments section. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends here at Land Rover of Shreveport for loaning me this Defender for the day, and a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. Make sure to subscribe, that way you don't miss any future videos. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.